Hello, everybody. Everyone is in. All right. We got everyone's showing up now. So, hi everyone. We have a special class today. I put a little note on the sign-up sheet, but Nate is a past student of U.S. chess schools. He's come to a bunch of them in person. He's also been to a few online back a few years ago. And in this class, it's not going to be, we're not going to even, are we going to look at a chessboard today,
I
Nate?
don't, aside from this logo, I don't know if we're seeing any chess
All
on
right,
this.
so there might be like no actual chess moves, but it's going to be about chess, and it's going to be about the mental side of chess and like how to deal with things that I'm sure y'all feel a lot, like stress and nerves and concentration. And he knows more about it than me. He has a organization that he started called Mind Mates that helps to deal with that. One thing that he requests that I mentioned in the chat is that cameras are on. Nate, can you tell me why you want the cameras on?
Just because, and I'll introduce myself and my program in a little bit, but we'll be doing a lot of exercises. Not a lot, like 3 or 4 simple extra breathing exercises, and oftentimes I've found it more engaging when people's cameras are on. But I mean, if you kind of feel confident that you can, that often helps when you kind of see your peers doing it as well. But if you feel confident that you guys will do it on your own, then obviously if you have certain reasons why your camera is be off, no pressure at all. I respect that, but it is preferred. Because usually I do it in person. So this is one of my few ones online. So usually I like to see who I'm talking to. But I do have to respect now with this whole these Zoom days that might not be kind of suitable for everybody.
And the camera's slowly coming on. We got Alice, we got Gordon, we got Oscar, we got Samuel, superstars of the class so far. Oh, we got Muradan. Thank you. Yeah, and to everyone putting on your cameras, I think every like few minutes we'll like try to ask them to do it again.
Yeah.
But thank you, Alan. Do you want to get started? Do you
Yeah,
feel
sure.
ready
I
or
Here, yeah, let me just hide it. Um, Let me a second. Can you guys see my screen? Like, is it all good? Is it clean? Is it clean? Can you guys kind of see what's awesome? All right. See, I can kind of see
yes?
it. Awesome. Um,
What's up,
so
Andrew?
and this will also help with the kind of the cameras on, and obviously reactions help as well. But I'll kind of be checking in throughout to make sure you guys kind of understand what I'm talking about before we actually do it individually. So, to kind of create the best kind of experience and for you to get the most out of this, it does help for me to kind of understand where everyone's at before I kind of jump in and throw a lot at you guys. Because it is new stuff for me when I started it, and hopefully for you guys as well. So, without further ado, I can jump in. Greg kind of prefaced me very nicely and very well. But yeah, I've been working with Greg and coming to this US chess school since I was, I don't know, I would say like 8 years old. And across the country. And I've been playing chess since I was really, really young, just like you guys. And I've kind of been Greg see me grow up for a long time, kind of see my whole chess journey, my unfortunate plateau, but he's kind of been with me throughout. So I'm really excited that I kind of speak with you guys and share something that, has been so important to me and who I am and some of my success, and hopefully can kind of do the same for you guys and elevate your game outside of the chessboard, which all you guys are unbelievably talented. That's why you're on here tonight. But it's about how we get this competitive edge off the chessboard, which not a lot of people talk about. You guys probably haven't even done any of this work, been exposed to any of this work. So it's all new things. But hopefully it'll be interesting for you guys. So, as Greg said, I would really, really appreciate your attention for the whole presentation. It won't be that long. None of the exercise will be that long. So just your full engagement throughout would be really, really appreciated. So just jumping in, I'm Nate Shuman. I attend the Dalton School in New York City. I'm going to be a 12th grader. Chess has been a huge part of my life, competing, internationally and nationally, similar to all you guys. Going to nationals, every year, really becoming an elite player when I was younger, and sticking with it, since, even up till this past year. And our team won the national championships recently. And, just playing in the US amateurs, which has been fun. Our team actually won it this past year, which was, in my opinion, compared to all the other national championships, that was kind of the hardest tournament to win for us. And that was a big feat. So,
Who was
um,
your team? Who was on your team?
so Gus Houston was
Oh,
board one. It was an all Dalton team, and then I was board two, and then Shumit Dar was board three, and then
all three
friend,
of them have been to the camps.
yeah, and then Ryan Peterson, my friend, is board four. But last year was the same team, but Iris Ma was on our team as like a Dalton team. But
Oh, okay.
I've had years with Hans being board one, a lot of mixes.
Mhm.
Delugi won, Hans two. It was a pretty stacked team. But finally, with probably the rating wise weakest team we've ever had, we ended up winning. So it's an exciting tournament. So yeah, just to jump in, obviously, playing at this high level, there comes a lot of accomplishments, but also a lot of stress. And for me, competing at nationals, going into the last rounds often, especially when I was younger, leading the tournament, being tied for first place, I would have a lot of stress going to the very last round. So it kind of overtook me, right? And it would kind of affect the way I would perform. A breaking point for me was playing the last round of nationals actually a long time ago, but it was in fifth grade. And I was playing Max Liu, who I'm sure all you guys are pretty familiar with. But um, me and him are in the same grade. We've kind of been, overlapping a lot at these national championships. And I vividly remember I had 5.5 out of 6, and he had 5 out of 6. And all I needed to do at that point was draw to win the whole tournament. I was white, and I ended up losing. And it was a game where I was at a pretty comfortable position, pretty basic opening, and ended up losing in an end game. And that really kind of devastated me because I knew a big reason for that loss, although he's, obviously an extremely strong player at the time as well. But I was so stressed and nervous before that final round. I'm thinking about all the consequences of what would happen if I lost, and not really thinking about the actual game, but really focusing on the after result. So, and I'm sure all you guys, even with the people on this camera, with the cameras on, and if people with the cameras off, I would love some reactions. I mean, everyone that I've asked to has felt the same way. Have you guys at all ever in your whole life felt nervous before a chess game? I'm sure a lot of you guys, right? Every single person, regardless of um your strength. I've even spoken to kids who started playing chess like 6 months ago, and they also feel nervous. So everyone feels these same emotions, and I think these emotions aren't even unique to chess, right? You may feel these emotions before giving a presentation, public speaking, and before any like sports event, whatever it is. You'll end up feeling nerves somehow. So for me, it was all about basically knowing how to recycle these nerves and this stress. So there's something called good stress and bad stress. And stress is not always a bad thing, but oftentimes you kind of make it a bad thing. So a lot of my work was always how can I translate this stress into good stress and actually benefit myself rather than harm myself. So 8 years ago, it says 7, but it was around 8. I saw a peak performance sports psychologist. So although it was for my chess performance, he worked with tons of top athletes. He's actually worked with a lot of top soccer clubs like Manchester United, a lot of baseball players, car drivers. Actually, that's a high stress situation. But really working on how can we limit the stress in the highest moments so we can perform our best. So our work kind of focused on how can we regulate my stress? How do we understand and listen to my body and knowing when to recover when needed? So over the course of our work together, I've learned so much about mindfulness and peak performance that I kind of want to share it with you guys. So, although, I reached 2100 when I was in fourth grade, and, it was a pretty big feat. I didn't win any of these national championships up until that point, right? And since I started to do this work, although I played less chess as I've gotten older. That's when I actually started between, fifth and ninth grade. That's when I won, my national championships, despite, my rating might not be improving. It's how I kind of dealt with certain situations and how I perform my best at these biggest tournaments. So, like I said again, a lot of times the term mindfulness and meditation has this negative stigma behind it, how it's boring. Maybe when I started doing this work, I thought it was boring and I didn't want to do it. But ultimately, and I want to stress this is to give you an edge over your competition. So this is all for performance. This is learning how to be your optimal self. And it's not, you taking a step further. So obviously, mindfulness helps you decrease stress, but we're taking it a step further in how mindfulness decreases stress to help your performance. So hopefully, some of this work that I'm about to get into, it won't resonate with everybody, right? And I know that, and everyone's experience is different, but hopefully it can resonate with some of you guys, and you guys can take some new things away from this lesson off the chessboard as well. So over the past couple of years, I had to start a program called Mind Mates, and it's basically learning how to advance the mental side of performance when it's most needed before, during, after games. So we'll be doing short exercises, 1 to 3 minutes each, nothing longer than that, I promise. And it's basically learning how to monitor these bite-sized tools and use it in the most important moments. I do the first thing we do, and I'm sure some people in this room, I don't know if I think I saw Charles in this room. I've played him recently, and I actually do this one exercise during matches as well, before matches. And it's my favorite exercise. So just taking a step back.
One moment before we start. So before we do this, some new people have come in the room. Here comes one more.
Yeah.
I just want to give a reminder that Nate has requested that if you're comfortable turning on your cameras, it will be especially helpful for these exercises he does, so he can see what's going on. So if anyone else wants to put their camera on, even if it's a nice view of the ceiling like David, there we go, Wesley. We got one. We got one more. Who's going to be next? Oh, David. Hello. All right, Nate, take it.
Oh, thank you, Greg. And yeah, and anyone obviously throughout, as you feel comfortable, kind of turning on your camera. So not a lot of people know what this term mindfulness means. And usually if we were in person, I'd go around asking the room kind of to raise their hands and speak out. But online, I don't want to take up too much time. It'll kind of be harder to kind of
Let's get one person. Let's get somebody to talk. What's the question you want to ask?
I'll go off the screen for a second, unless you guys kind of took a sneak peek at it. But
Oh,
any
sure.
brave souls kind of want to take a stab at what they thought before the session mindfulness kind of meant. And I'll let Greg kind of call on deal with who kind of they.
Yeah, if you wanna talk about it, do the raise hand option or just say something in the chat.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. No, oh,
that's right. We're good at chess. We can wait a little bit. We kind of have our patience.
nobody wants to do it.
Awesome. Yeah, take a
Wait,
stab
oh,
at
we
it.
have a hand up. We have a hand up. Oscar, I'm gonna unmute him.
Yeah.
Uh, I guess I thought mindfulness is like being self-aware and like being aware of your surroundings and like taking care of yourself, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
That's a big component to it for sure. I kind of see some people in the chat kind of throwing into different things, and I definitely agree. Everyone basically just looking at like the three things that people's kind of thrown out combined. Um I it's you guys are kind of nailing it on the spot, right? So it's a combination of all these type of things. So it means one, to kind of be fully aware of your surroundings, what's happening outside of you and around you, and you nailed that. There's also a lot that has to say with being present in this present moment. So this figure, John Kabat-Zinn, who is one of the most prominent figures in the mindfulness neuroscience field, and a lot of scholarly sources quote him for his definition, but he uses the term mindful meditation as meaning in quotes awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment non-judgmentally. So he throws in like four different terms there, and let's say you can take a second to kind of think about that. All right, so In my own words, that really means just being fully aware of what's happening inside of you and around you. He's basically saying, it's you being fully aware, paying attention in the moment. That's when you're fully locked in. A lot of you guys are being mindful right now listening to me. You guys don't even know that. You guys are being mindful at the chessboard when you're thinking, or even when you're waiting for your opponent to move. And there's also some being present in the moment, but also non-judgmental. So that's something I really want to stress. So a lot of times people are very full of judgment on themselves, give themselves a really hard time. And I think every single person in this Zoom, almost every single person alive on this planet has done this before, right? And it's basically teaching yourself not to be too hard on yourself. And this is the kind of the first inkling of kind of us trying to get into the bulk of the material. This is the phrase that my sports psychologist taught me, and I tell myself many times throughout the day, a lot of times before a chess match. And it basically means, and the quote that I tell myself is, no matter what happens, I love and approve of myself completely. So that basically means a lot of times we get caught up in the chess game, right? And it's often hard to kind of get over a tough loss. But at the end of the day, it's one chess game, right? Looking in hindsight, it's not a big deal at all. And the most important thing you can really do is love and approve of yourself. And this stems from his term of being non-judgmental. So during losses, don't be too hard on yourself. And no matter what happens, love yourself and move on from it. So this is the first exercise called palming. And anyone that's seen some of my either my presentations before or the Instagram page or even seen me at tournaments, this is basically my go-to exercise that I do and that I teach people. So this is extremely easy, and it takes 1 minute. So I'll just jump right into it. So you basically in this exercise, it looks something like this. And I'm gonna do this one with you guys because I could use it anytime throughout the day. It helps me tremendously. So don't do it yet. But basically, you're going to be gently pressing the palms of your hands to your closed eyelids. You're going to close your eyes, and all you guys seem to probably be at tables or in chairs. If you have glasses, you will want to take it off once we do it. But basically, you're going to spend 1 minute pressing your palms to your closed eyelids and applying pressure. So I see Greg kind of getting ahead of himself. Don't do it yet. I know it's very exciting, but the important thing to remember is that you're basically applying pressure with your palms and not just your fingertips. So it's not going to be like you're just, It's not going to be like you're just, sitting there basically with your eyes closed and your fingers over your eyes. You're really going to be applying pressure from your palms, really trying to send it through to your closed eyelids and really try to fully just lose yourself in the minute. It's only going to be 1 minute. I promise you, I'm setting a timer. What I often tell kids is watch the backs of your eyelids like it's a movie screen. So, a bunch of colors and shapes may appear. Just try to watch the darkness, whatever may appear, and just try to stay focused on that and not try to open your eyes. I promise you, the 1 minute is an actual 1 minute. Some people may go by faster. Oftentimes, with other people, it'll feel like the minute's going by forever, and you can't wait, for it to be over. So take your time. I'm gonna do this with you guys. I'm setting the 1 minute timer now. You guys all that's what I mean. So that's why I kind of see by a show of hands. Do you guys not anyone who doesn't understand it? Please, that's what I mean. Feel free to speak out now before we kind of jump into it because I do want everybody to have the same shared experience with this work. Awesome. So it seems like everyone kind of has the hang of it.
We start. We didn't start yet, right?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I'm sorry, guys.
I see Alan's been Alan's at his.
I'm building suspense. Okay. So we'll spend 1 minute and the 1 minute timer starts now. So that's 1 minute. Take your time, kind of opening your eyes. Everything may seem a little bright or a little fuzzy. This is an exercise that for me, I use to reset myself before, during, and after a tournament. I'm curious. A lot of times, it depends kind of the room that you do it in, whatever the light is. Oftentimes, as you kind of see, everything should look a little fuzzy. everything should be a little bright. And I just want to now, right after we do this, I want to do a reflection. So, by a show of hands, and just think about these questions. Did you feel more awake? Is everything a little brighter? I just want you to kind of share your thoughts, a little out loud, or in the chat. If people want to raise their hands, oftentimes you'll feel a little brighter or a little tired right after you do it, but after a couple seconds or a minute, everything should kind of, your vision obviously should go back to what it was before, and you should feel a little more awake or at calm, than everything before. So, now this is the question that I like to ask everybody, and it honestly is different for me every time I do it. There's no right or wrong answer. So I want to ask you guys if the minute felt longer or shorter than expected. So did the minute kind of go on really long, or did it go by really fast, and the minute kind of happened super quickly, or were you kind of waiting for it to end? Oftentimes it is a mix, a very even mix, which is quite interesting. There's not really a definitive answer for everybody. I'm kind of looking in the chat now, and it does look like there is like a 50-50 kind of turnout. I'm getting some direct messages, so I don't know if you guys are seeing everybody's, but you can kind of scroll through the chat and see that it's a pretty balanced mix, which I think is the beauty of this work. And yes, yeah, Greg.
This is a little bit off topic, but Grandmaster Gregory Kaidanov once told me that there's this exercise they do where you basically, somebody sets a timer for 1 minute and you don't get to see it, and you have to predict when the minute is up without, you just have to like say, okay, now I think it's a minute. And he said that people are like really bad at this, often have like time trouble problems. So I was using the minute. I was actually like trying to time it, and I timed it almost exact. So I feel very good. I don't know if that's true with the time trouble thing, but this felt like a good chance to kind of test my sense of time.
Yeah, that's, I'm a very competitive person, so for me, there's always ways to kind of keep it exciting. So it seems like there is a mix, and I kind of lost my train of thought a little bit, but that is an insightful comment that Greg made, and I think, like he's saying, it does a lot of things just ultimately kind of come back and connect to chess. So this is the main exercise called palming. I actually learned this, so we basically started the session palming, and we're gonna do this exact exercise again to end the session. So I learned this from my tennis coach a long time ago, who played, I don't know if you guys are in the tennis team at all or know anything about tennis, but he played doubles with John McEnroe, and they're known for kind of slamming rackets and being really aggressive and angry. But as he kind of, as he progressed through his career, he's gotten older, he's taken a very zen approach, and he's taught me tons. His name's Peter Rennert, and he's taught me tons about a lot of this work. So for us, we would do palming before our lesson started, and we would do palming after as a kind of way to fully immerse ourselves in the present moment and then leave that behind as we kind of move on to our daily life. So moving on from palming, as you know, we're gonna come back and do this again. We just did something called reflection, right? You just reflected a lot on how you felt in that given moment. And reflecting is extremely important. And reflecting, connects to chess and analyzing chess games a lot of the time. But reflecting kind of takes the extra second in your busy daily life to reflect with yourself and your thoughts. It can be extremely beneficial. So reflecting with any lived experience that you have creates meaning. So we just did a 1-minute session of palming. You guys all reflect in the chat and with yourself what the kind of the emotions you felt were, what that might mean. Oftentimes when the minute feels longer, that means you kind of have a lot on your mind. You have a busy brain and you're thinking about a lot of things. When the minute goes shorter, that's kind of when you fully immerse yourself, and kind of let the minute go by. There's no, like I said, even though that kind of sounds like one thing's better than the other, there is nothing that's better or worse than the other person. That's just how you were in that one given moment. I promise you, the next couple of times you do it, at least one of those times you'll feel a completely different sensation. So for the rest of the exercise we'll do together, I want you to continue to reflect on your feelings and your emotions, and I'll kind of give you the time to do that as well in this space. So the next exercise is called diaphragmatic breathing. So this is pretty well known, and a lot of people, it's not really unique to my course, but a lot of people actually breathe incorrectly. And I want you guys all now, without looking at this screen, and whoever's behind, if your camera's off, I just want to I want you to take a deep breath in and out. Not really think of anything, just like a pretty organic deep breath. So a lot of times, and when I started to do this work, actually, I would breathe incorrectly. So when I would suck in, I'd actually tense. So obviously we're on Zoom, so it's a little harder to show, but I would tense in my stomach and kind of suck in the air. And then when I breathe out, then my belly would expand. That's actually the inverse on how you're actually supposed to breathe. This is also known as belly breathing, balloon breathing, but diaphragmatic breathing, diaphragmatic breathing is basically when you breathe thinking as if there's a belly, as if there's a balloon in your belly. So when you breathe in, you're actually going to be expanding your belly as much as you can. And then when you breathe out, you're going to be contracting your belly. And if you do this already, that's great. We're going to continue to practice that. For people who don't, and it may feel uncomfortable, try your best to continue to breathe this way. So basically, what I kind of tell the visual is to think as if there's a, oh my God, to think as if there's a balloon in your stomach. So realistically, as you send air into the balloon's going to expand. And as you suck the air out, the balloon's going to contract. So imagine you have a balloon in your stomach. And as you breathe in air, expand your belly as much as you can. And then as you exhale, contract it. So while you're doing this breathing pattern, you're going to do something called mindful breathing. And this is something where, a lot of athletes just naturally breathe this way. But for all the next exercises we do together, you're going to want to breathe in through your nose, and then you're going to breathe out through your mouth with pursed lips. So the visual that I often want to tell people is this: imagine you're blowing out a candle, or as if you're not on your back, but imagine you're kind of trying to balance or float a ping pong ball above your lips, a couple inches above. Not too hard, so you push it away, not too soft, so it falls. You're kind of breathing in and out like that. So there's two moving components now: expanding your belly as you breathe in through your nose, and then contracting your belly as you exhale and push the air out. So I'm going to give like 20 seconds now just for you to kind of take a couple deep breaths at your own pace, you trying your best to kind of use this pattern. So we can kind of move on from this as you do more of these exercises, and even when you just breathe in your daily life. There's actually a lot of science behind, and I've really kind of dipped my toes into a bunch of science. I'm really interested in this stuff, but there's a lot of science actually on this breathing pattern decreases stress just naturally. And when you're tensing up and you're sucking in, you're actually a lot more stressed, even subconsciously, than if you're breathing in this normal pattern. So we kind of reflected on this. You don't have to share out. Just think about these questions. Have you breathed like this before? Is this a new feeling? Do you feel more relaxed? Maybe oftentimes when I do this, I feel a lot more relaxed. And also think yourself, if you're able to do this, if you're able to breathe like this is a new thing. It's not easy to breathe this way. So as you kind of practice this more, the feeling will hopefully feel a little more natural. So this is actually one of the most unique exercises that I kind of do, and it's called goal visualization. So I'm going to need you guys' focus for this one because it's short and it's only 30 seconds, but it's very powerful. So we're going to visualize the goal that you have. Visualize a goal that's related to chess, all right? You can do the same exercise in other parts of your life, but for this specific workshop, we're going to visualize a goal that you have in chess. For me, let's say that's walking up on the podium and achieving the first place trophy at nationals, right? I really want to envision my exact feelings of what I feel in that given moment. So the proudness, the accomplishment that I feel in that given moment, I really want to try to envision that when I close my eyes. So I'll give you guys 10 seconds now to kind of think of a goal that you have in chess, even if it's reaching a certain rating and, really trying to envision that last game when when you win the game, and really feeling the emotions that you feel when kind of reaching that level. No need to share out, this goal. Keep it to yourself. And then I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds, not yet, but in a second, to really close your eyes and really try to envision this goal. So, however, this is basically the unique part of this exercise. We're going to do this 2 times. This first time, you're going to be envisioning the goal from your own 2 eyes, from first person looking out. So for me, if I'm walking up on stage, it'll be from my 2 eyes, kind of looking down at my legs walking, or, looking at the person that's about to give me the trophy. We're gonna do it a second time in 2 minutes, on from a third person perspective. So for me, for example, that would be, my parent, let's say, from the crowd, videoing, kind of watching me walk up on stage. So not kind of from the first one, from your basically 2 eyes looking at me and this presentation right now, and then in a sense, the third person from kind of me looking at you guys. So it's kind of hard to think about it in a sense, especially when you're visualizing goal in your head. But we're going to take 30 seconds now. And during this visualization, I really want you to try to envision the emotions you feel, and the proudness and the excitement and the real sense of satisfaction during this. Yeah, Oscar.
There you got it. Oh, I'll mute him.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're good.
Should the goal be like your next goal, or it should be like a dream you have, like becoming a grandmaster or something, or does it not matter?
It could be becoming grandma. I mean, it should be probably a realistic goal. So, and I can talk about that. And I wish I had a video prepared for. There's a great video of Michael Phelps kind of talking about, a 1 minute clip of him talking about the importance of setting smaller goals leading up to a bigger goal. But goal setting is extremely important. And if I, sometime down the line, end up speaking to you guys again, I'll make sure I have that prepared. But think of a goal that's reasonably achievable. But yes, if you do it on your own time, you want to play around with it, you can create any goal that you want in chess. But for this specific exercise, because we only have I only have one opportunity to do it with you guys for now. Let's just think of a goal that's more realistic, in a reasonable timeline, in the next couple months or whatever that is. Unless you're about to become grandmaster in the next couple months, but then I don't know. But awesome. So yeah, take 30 seconds now. I'm setting a timer. I promise you, all the time that I'm telling you is accurate. Don't think about the time for this one. Really just try to fully envision this goal and the emotions that you feel doing so. I can't really stress that enough. Really try to envision your sensations in that given moment. And it's not easy. So really try your best to stay focused and do that. So I'll take 30 seconds now. So take your time coming back. Obviously, you can do this for a lot longer than 30 seconds. But just for the sake of timing and other exercises, try your best to come back. And it's not easy to really feel the exact emotions you want to feel in this time, in this short amount of time. But now, like I said, it's time to reflect. So within yourself, and if people want to share out, feel comfortable with that. But think to yourself, how clear was the visualization? Were you really able to visualize what you wanted to visualize? The feelings and the emotions you have, just like working out. And Greg can attest to this. Basically, you work out, and your muscles get bigger, right? You train, your muscles just don't get bigger by doing nothing. And actually, your brain, it's just like mindfulness, right? You train this skill and you'll get better and better at it. And actually, your brain will actually something called neuroplasticity, where I'm like dying here. Your brain actually changes shape. So all you guys as chess players, actually, it's really cool. Our brains are actually wired. Our brains actually look different if you play enough chess than a normal person's brain, just because of the way that we've kind of demanded our brain to function. And the same thing with mindfulness, right? A lot of meditators, actually have, and especially monks, their brains are structured differently, and just like chess players, you guys fall under that same category. So the more you do this, the better and better you're gonna kind of the better and better you're kind of gonna be able to achieve these goals. So And I want you to think to yourself, right? After kind of envisioning this goal, do you resonate more with the goal that you're trying to achieve after performing the visualization? And if you do this more and more and more and more, um, you actually should. And subconsciously, um, there's the similar parts of the brain actually overlap when you visualize a goal and when you actually act out that goal. So by really training your brain to visualize the same goal, subconsciously you're actually pushing yourself to work harder to achieve that goal. So we're gonna do the same exact exercise and the same exact goal, but do it from the other perspective. So now do it from the third person looking in. So not from your own two eyes in that given moment, but from someone else's perspective. So if it's you, checkmating someone, for example, it could be from your kind of opponent's perspective watching you checkmate them rather than from your own two eyes. So that's just an example. Obviously, it takes a lot of different forms, but if you guys all feel confident now to take 30 seconds again, just 30 seconds to close your eyes and really try to envision the same exact goal, but from another perspective, and really try to challenge yourself to envision this moment. So the timer starts now. Take time to close your eyes now and really try to envision the same goal. So take your time coming back. It's been 30 minutes. I want you to now think if you've been able to visualize the same goal that you visualized, if it was easier or harder. 30 seconds. Sorry, guys. I would now, like, maybe even some people in the chat, and if you can really think about this, was it easier or harder to visualize what you wanted to visualize? Looking from this perspective versus someone else's perspective. So if people want to kind of share out which perspective, just right, first or third was kind of easier. And I can give, some seconds to kind of let you guys kind of share your thoughts. Seems like it's pretty mixed. But this basically goes to show you that everyone has a different experience, right? So as you actually visualize and practice visualization more and more, and we visualize goals in the future, now you kind of know what perspective kind of works best for you. And obviously you can play around with this more, but there's tons of science behind the importance of visualizing a goal. And everyone that you look up to that has achieved a lot of great things, I promise you, Magnus, for example, has set a goal for himself and has worked really hard to achieve that goal. Everyone set goals, and the importance of goal visualization, although it's a little different than just mindfulness, is really, really important. So this is the last exercise we're going to do besides palming again. So I really want you guys' attention, and I hate to break it to you guys, but this is by far the hardest exercise so far. And for me, it took a lot of practice to really master this exercise. So I need input. However, you guys are all extremely smart and bright kids and done a lot of calculation. So you guys are pretty good at visualization. So you guys, I'm sure, will be a lot more talented and prepared and unique in at this exercise than a normal kid that I've kind of talked to. So box breathing is a simple exercise that basically requires you to breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and hold for 4 seconds. Basically creating this box image, right? That's a pretty well-known exercise. That's not original. However, this other part of it is what's original to my work. So this is something that my sports psychologist came up with, and basically I'm sharing with you guys. But at the same time, doing this breathing exercise, it doesn't have to be 4 seconds. It could be 4 counts, whatever that count is. You just have to make it pretty even throughout. You're going to be closing your eyes and drawing a box in your head, matching up to each side. So you're going to start in the bottom left corner. And as you breathe in for 4 seconds, you're going to draw a line up. As you're going to hold for 4 seconds, you're going to come across. As you breathe out for 4 seconds, you're going to come down. And then as you hold again, you're going to come across. So this will take a 16-second count. And you're going to be basically matching up your breath with your visualization. And I told you guys, I kind of see some reactions, right? It's not easy at all. And every single person who's tried this has somewhat in these 2 minutes lost the box. Right? And we're only going to do it for 2 minutes. But when you lose the box, just take a deep breath and try again to kind of restart it. So it's not an easy exercise, and as you do it more and more, you'll hopefully really kind of feel the the focusedness, the calm, the relaxed, whatever emotions that you feel in this given moment. You're kind of it's just gonna get easier and easier the more you do it, just like anything else you do. So does anyone have any questions on kind of what this looks like? Oftentimes, this is a suggestion. Obviously, your eyes are going to be closed and you're trying to visualize it. If you have trouble visualizing the box, even when your eyes are closed, it helps to kind of draw your finger along the box as well. That kind of allows your brain to kind of match it up as you kind of drawing your finger. And we're going to go after this exercise and, of course, reflect on it. So does everyone kind of feel comfortable to kind of share to kind of not share to kind of get distracted trying to read the chat. It's hard to monitor both, but everyone ready to kind of jump in. It's just 2 minutes, but really try your best to match up the box, and obviously most importantly to maintain this breathing pattern. So I'll give you guys 2 minutes now, and remember, if you have any trouble doing it and you really just can't visualize the box, no pressure. And then just try to mindfully breathe for the rest of the time. So I'll give you guys 2 minutes now. Take time to close your eyes and really try to stay focused for these 2 minutes. We're almost at the end. So the timer starts now. If you're more than halfway through, just try to continue to keep your eyes closed, envision the box. If you have trouble, just try to keep your eyes closed and just breathe. All right, get your last cycle in. The 16-second count. Awesome. All right, so take time now to open your eyes. And of course, it's time to reflect. So now you guys can start to spam the chat or whatever. Were you able at all to visualize the box? Did you lose the box? Was this hard? Just start to share out, if you want to speak out, your kind of emotions during this exercise. Greg, how did you feel? Was it easy? Was it hard?
Somehow when I breathe out, it takes forever, and when I breathe in, it's hard to do it for 4 seconds. Like I'm done. I can't breathe in anymore. There's nothing left after like 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds.
Yeah.
But I can breathe out forever. It keeps coming.
That's
The
interesting.
box, I was doing okay with the box.
I mean, talented chess players. I love to hear it. It's not easy. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's not for everybody. And it's a really hard exercise, but as you guys can kind of see, as you practice it more, it'll just get easier and easier. It actually does help your chess calculation, and I'm not just saying that. And it's pretty, I mean, you kind of understand why as you're kind of training your brain to visualize things in the future. Even though it's off the chessboard, the same parts, the regions of the brain are really being activated. And like I said, your brain's actually physically changing the more you do this work. So your brain will be more efficient and adapt to, actually really, aside from the whole, being your best self off the chessboard, which will help you on the chessboard. This actually helps you chess the more you practice it, which is interesting. And maybe that's kind of the selling point to you guys with this exercise. But now think back to how you felt. Like, did you feel at all during that 2 minutes as if you're in a state of concentration, trying to envision that box? Did you feel kind of you were blocking out the surroundings and you're really trying to envision the box in that moment? So that feeling that when I do this exercise, I feel, it's called the state of flow. It's also known as the brainwave state of alpha. So in this state, that's when you're performing at your maximum capacity. That's when you're at your best. That's over the chessboard. You're calculating your best. You're not really losing a lot of moves. That's when you're your best self and your best performer. So a lot of my work has always been geared towards how do I get into the state of flow most efficiently? And the more I do this exercises, the more and more that I kind of become more proficient at doing so. So obviously, when you do a lot of chest work, that'll kind of help this, help your performance over the chessboard a lot more. This isn't really geared towards, chess, obviously. This is how you can kind of be your most complete, focused, stress-free self going to a chess game. Also, your brain can only really function at maximum capacity for 45 minutes. So what I do, I always do palming sometime around that as a way to kind of refresh my brain and kind of continue to move on. So we kind of talked about this. and I kind of alluded to it, but the importance of kind of moving on from a loss. And that goes to my point of recovery. So one of the biggest factors of performing your best is listening to your body and mind. So taking time to recover is more important than anything else. All the top athletes, that's all they do is recover. And I consider chess players and high-level chess players, I mean, you see all these top players, Magnus, Caruana, a lot of these top players, I mean, they really care about their physical health. Running during tournaments, they're doing a lot of different things. So really focusing on that is a big part. So recovery during tournaments. And as you guys know, I've played less and less chess as I've gotten older, but somehow I've always seemed to perform at nationals. And I attribute that to the routine I set during these tournaments. So being able to recover means being disciplined and listen to your body, right? When I say that is I mean giving the body the rest or fuel it needs. So if you're hungry, you should eat. Not too much though, because then the oxygen is actually going to be sent to your stomach to digest the food and not to your brain. If you're tired, you should take a small nap. If you want to be more energized, I saw someone earlier in the session say they splash water on your face. Oftentimes in the middle of games, I go to the bathroom and splash water on my face as well to kind of reset. Although there'll be people that are much stronger chess players than me, I'm trying to find ways to kind of help myself be my best competitor on the chessboard, in addition to all, the chess preparation as well. So what I do is I make sure to stay present in the moment. So I don't know about you guys. I actually don't input any of my chess games after a game at nationals. So I wait till the end of the tournament to input my games. What I do in that time is I leave the game behind me. I make sure to kind of move on from it, even if it was a win or a loss. And I try my best just to be my best self for that next game. So I create a routine for myself. And I'm about to show you guys what I do. I want to stress this though. What I do is good for me. It's not good for everybody else. So everyone will have their own routine. But the most important thing you really have to do is just recover and recover in the most kind of the best way possible for yourself. Just make sure you recover. So make sure you don't eat too little food because you need food to kind of perform, but also too much food is actually not good for the mind, like I said. So really balancing that. I actually cut out sugar during nationals because to stop kind of sugar crashes. Oftentimes, you're kind of doing really well, and then all of a sudden you crash during the middle of the match, which is something that you kind of not want to you don't want that to happen. So this is what I do. So setting routines is extremely important. It actually reduces stress when you kind of constantly thinking about what's the next thing I should do. A lot of stress kind of comes into your brain. So by doing a routine that I've kind of established for the past couple of years, that's kind of helped me become my best self for the next round. So this is my routine. So after I finish the game, I'll go back to my room and I'll take a power nap. That's 15 minutes. Just taking 15 minutes to take a power nap to reset is really beneficial. I also do one or two of those exercises as well, to fully, and I have a lot more exercise that I do for myself that I obviously wasn't able to fit into this presentation. I probably won't be doing box breathing when I'm tired. I probably won't be doing calming when I'm tired. But just like diaphragmatic breathing, for example, trying to calm myself is a big part of it. Next, after I rest, I try to refuel with water and fluids. Also with whatever food, having small bites to eat. Obviously, like I said, not too much food. Next, I take a shower. And this is something that I do before every round. Oftentimes at chess tournaments and nationals, I probably end up showering like 4 times a day. And that's not because, I'm dirty or whatever, and it's not for hygiene. It's because that's what kind of gets me in the zone, right? I play music. I really try to fully lock in. And that's kind of that's my happy place in a sense, right? So for everybody, a shower might not be that. But that's how you kind of allow myself to reset. What I actually like to say is, when I was younger and I used to play a little bit of video games, I was never really big into video games when I was younger. And my parents, obviously, as any parent really would be at chess tournaments, wouldn't want their kid to be playing video games, right? They may think that that's kind of destroying your brain. It's kind of taking away from the task. But I asked my sports psychologist, it's okay if I play 10 minutes of whatever this video game is. And he said, do it, because do whatever makes you happy and whatever brings you joy. And for me, taking those 10 minutes to do something that brought me joy was more important than anything else in that given moment. And at that point, it was playing this video game for 10 minutes, regardless of all the stigma around it. Whatever brought me joy was best for me. And now it's taking a shower, slowly, as you see, doing whatever is best for you. That's just me saying, like, craft the routine that's best for you. Even now, some of you guys, if it's playing a video game for 5-10 minutes that makes you happy, do that. Obviously, I don't want your parents to get too upset at me or whatever, but it's basically just me basically telling you guys to do whatever's best for you. And then after that, I make sure to listen to music. And anyone that basically knows me in the chess world, I kind of throw a football before every round, and I've been a big athlete my whole life. So combining those two loves between chess and sports has been a big part of my journey. But on the walk to the tournament hall, my dad and I throw the same Nerf footballs that I've kind of thrown for the past 7 years. And it's my way of kind of getting into the zone, establishing a mind-body connection. But like I said, do what's best for you. You guys just saw a routine between me resting, and it's kind of like a parabola in a sense, right? So I kind of bring myself down. I allow myself to get tired, reset, and then once I reset, then I ramp myself up again to kind of be my best self for the next game. Doesn't mean that I'm going to win every game, right? There's a lot of chess involved in chess, right? You kind of, the stronger player often in chess will win. A lot of the hard work you're doing with Greg multiple times a week will, pay tremendous benefits to the actual game. But this is me finding ways to be my best self off the chessboard and off chess preparation. I mean, you see tons of athletes as they get older, their body might not be their same as 20 years ago, but they try to find these little angles and nooks and crannies to kind of have a competitive edge over their competition. So that's basically how I can kind of leave this with you. Before we jump into palming and kind of close out our session, do what's best for you, right? Craft a routine. I can provide you guys with more exercises. Take one or two, right? Every time I do this, every person's exercise for the most part, it's pretty even split. Everyone has a different exercise that was their favorite, right? So I want you guys all now, before we finish, just to share out in the chat what your favorite exercise was. Don't listen to what everyone else is saying. What exercise that, we did 3 or 4 exercises. What exercise was your favorite? Greg, I'm curious, which one was the one that you liked the most?
I'm thinking, I don't know. I guess the palming, but yeah, like the box one, if it can help you think about chessboard in your brain better. Sometimes you're trying to envision a chessboard and when you're actually playing, but when you look at the board, the pieces like get in the way of your calculation. So like it's always good to
Yeah.
have tricks for, when I play, I do think, I don't know how many people do this, but I think in my head a decent amount, but I'm not perfect at blindfolds.
Yeah.
It's
I
one of
do.
those two. I don't know which one.
Yeah. I think for everyone it's unique, but I do want you guys to really, with all this exercise, really try to separate it as well, though, like from the whole chess scene and your idea of trying to connect everything back to no, but this work seriously will help you a tremendous amount off the chessboard, and that'll resonate to you on the chessboard. So as you do these exercises, visualization, as you're just breathing and resetting, this will really help you become your best self in any high pressure situation, whether that's in chess, sports, school, whatever that really is. Practice some of this stuff, and hopefully you can kind of imagine yourself. For me, and I just recently felt a breakthrough. I don't get nervous at all doing these presentations. For me playing chess games, I don't get nervous anymore. I literally just don't feel nerves, which sometimes might not be the best thing, but I've kind of really erased that. So the more you do it, I promise you, the more you'll see results. Yeah, Oscar.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I have a question. So
Yeah.
a lot of times when I'm at chess tournaments, I like to play Blitz and Bughouse in between the rounds with my friends and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, and to be honest, like a big reason why I like going to chess tournaments and like why it's really fun for me is being able to hang out with my friends and like
Yeah.
have fun with them. But how much do you think you should do that between rounds? Like, do you think there's like too much, or how much time do you think you should give yourself to recover and like have a
Yeah.
break before your next
I
round?
mean, I think that's great. I think that gets to the part where, for me, I started this because I kind of lost the joy in chess in a sense because I kind of felt burnt out. I was doing it so much. And for you, and for me, what kind of helped my breakthrough recently is just finding joy in it again. And if that's what brings you joy during these tournaments, I think you should continue to. If that what continues to kind of make you happy, I think that's a massive, massive component to performing well. At the same time, though, I think you could benefit from spending, 1 or 2 minutes, if it's the minute right before a game, to palm, or if it's to do a short breathing exercise. I think there's definitely time to kind of to balance both worlds. But if you start to feel like it's affecting your play, then if you feel like at times, I think you can make, if you finish a long game and you need time to, if you feel extremely tired, then you obviously go back and kind of relax. But if you felt a short game that kind of went by really quickly, you can obviously go and you basically just managing it for yourself, doing whatever is best for you is basically what I could basically give you. Anyone else have any questions? Seriously, I think it's a thank you for asking that. And if not, you can also just direct message me separately. We can, I think before we kind of close out, and I can ask for another round of questions. I say we do palming one last time all together to kind of close out the session, reflect on kind of the session so far, what's occurred, and we'll close out and leave this behind. And you can always revisit, hopefully, and or at least be mindful of it and think of it for your next tournament. So, is everyone ready to do palming for one more second? I'll do this with you guys for 1 minute. Sorry, and we'll finish the session after this. So, we'll take 1 minute now, and I just started.
No.
Yeah, no, you guys are good. All right, I start the timer. So take your time coming back. Resuming your daily life. Kind of reflecting if the minute felt longer or shorter. Just think to yourself, maybe if it was different than the first time. Whatever it may be. But thank you guys. There's a lot more information online. Greg can you guys have great memory, so you can kind of all see this. There's more on the website, mindmates.org. On Instagram, if you guys want to check out the social media, Greg follows it, so you can always stalk his following or whatever, but it's at Mindmates Chess. And there's a lot more information up there. My email, obviously, and phone number. Feel free, seriously, to reach out for any questions. I can send Greg this deck so he can share with you guys if you guys want it all, but please reach out if you have any questions during a tournament or whatever it is. I just want to help you guys as much as I can, and hopefully this kind of taught you, or at least allowed you to think about something you probably didn't think about before, and a whole new side to competition. So
Yeah, and they all have my email, so if they have any questions, they can direct through me first, and then I can put you all in touch. Thanks so much. This was super fun.
Awesome.
It's fun to see everybody's faces a little more than usual. Usually they're all dark the whole time, so this was cool. Thanks so much for sharing everything, and thanks for everyone for being here.
Thank you guys. It's not easy stuff, so I really appreciate your attention and your cooperation.